What's up, nerds? It's your boy, the OGGM, coming to you live at 9 o'clock in the morning here on a lovely spring day, the 9th day of March 2023, about 64 degrees and sunny. But another aerial flood is coming our way, so enjoy this spring weather while you can. And speaking of spring, sprung, sprang, splug, blag, words, segues. So, Tabletop Taproom mentioned me yesterday in his vlog on the latest news from Wizards of the Coast. And actually, he's given me a few shout-outs in the past. So thank you, Tabletop Taproom. If you haven't had a chance to check out Tabletop Taproom yet, head on over, help him reach 1,000 subs. Link down below. This guy does good work. Better than me. So he mentioned something that I'd never thought about that I guess he thought I had, which was Wizards of the Coast being present at community events and conventions, and that apparently they haven't been. That they have not officially been present at conventions and community events recently, or I don't know, because I've always been on the impression that they were. Now, I know people have said, well, they weren't at Gen Con, or they weren't at GameX, or they weren't at PAX, but they were, right? And they're not having community events, but they are. So I'm not sure what that means. I guess it depends. What do you mean by Wizards of the Coast having a presence at a convention? Because if you mean like they've taken up a giant chunk in the retailer's room like they used to do in the past, then yeah, I guess that they have somebody there from Wizards of the Coast talking about product. That one's borderline. So I'm not sure. I guess I'm not sure what people mean when they say Wizards of the Coast hasn't been present at conventions and community events, because as far as I'm aware, they have. So here's what I think Wizards of the Coast means. They're saying they're going back. That's the big thing, is they're saying they're going to start going to community events again and conventions again, which is they're implying they haven't been. But now, because we're the good guys, we want to start reaching out to the community again, because apparently January happened because we haven't been reaching out to the community. So we're the good guys, and Tabletop Top Room said, well, I know I've mentioned this before, and the OGGM mentioned this before, that they haven't been. But they have. They have been. They have been consistently. Now, top of the peak of consistently being represented in some form, PAX. PAX Unplugged, PAX East, PAX West, PAX Summer, PAX Winter. Crawford has been at every PAX for the past 4 years running Acquisitions Incorporated. And before that, Perkins was at every PAX going back, I don't know how many years, running Acquisitions Incorporated. So they have been at PAX. San Diego Comic Book Convention. They were at San Diego Comic Book Convention. They had a huge media squirm for the virtual tabletop, for 2024 plans, and for the movie. So they were at San Diego Comic Book Convention. Now, going a little bit further down the pyramid of representation at conventions, and I hate to defend Wizards of the Coast, but yeah, Adventurers League. Adventurers League is at almost every convention. Adventurers League has weekly things at game shops all around the world. So Adventurers League is Wizards of the Coast being represented. That is all official stuff done through DM's Guild, done through the Adventurers League, done and sponsored by Wizards of the Coast. Same with Friday Night Magic and the Magic unboxings and anything that has anything to do with an official Magic arena, Magic whatever. That is community outreach. That is Wizards of the Coast sending crap to friendly local game stores for them to give away as prizes, sending boxes of stuff. I know, because I worked at Cess Games and Anime for years, unpacking Wizards of the Coast merchandise and hanging the posters and hanging the Magic the Gathering stuff. And there's an official program, there's official prizes. Magic the Gathering tournaments are run at every convention in some form. Adventurers League stuff is run at every convention in some form. So yeah, Wizards of the Coast is being represented at conventions. And we go even further with retailers. Now, yes, there has not been a gigantic Wizards of the Coast retail thing at a convention in a while, I guess. I mean, if you're going back to like when they used to have those huge dioramas at San Diego Comic-Con, you know, have an entire room dedicated to just their product, or, you know, if you go to the end of the dealer's room at the hotel, the very back wall will have the giant Wizards of the Coast banner and a whole bunch of Wizards of the Coast product, and probably like a gigantic life-size Drow-Elf or a gigantic life-size Beholder. Yeah, maybe, though. I don't know, because I haven't been to a convention in a long time. I don't know if they had anything like that at the dealer's room this year at San Diego Comic Book Convention, but they have in the past. So that is, from what I understand, something they haven't done in a while. They haven't had official retailers, and they haven't had talks or official representatives or seminars, except, yeah, they have, because Crawford, Perkins, those guys have been out there, and the media skirm for everything they've done last year and this year has been hitting multiple cons, including SDCC and NYCC and a couple other, you know, and I know this because I have a friend who does cons all up and down California, and she posts about the cons, and there's, you know, something. So in regards to retailers, they might not have a gigantic retailer presence because cost effectiveness is, but there are specific retailers who are contracted to receive their product. And if you go booth to booth, you will notice that certain people have way more Wizards of the Coast product out front than other people. Like if you have a Seth's Games and Anime, shout out to Seth's Games and Anime, miss you, booth, and right next to it you have, you know, GameStop or Game Ogre, or I don't know what's a game store that has more than one store and gets lots of, you know, some giant online retailer who has been pushing Wizards of the Coast stuff and can afford the Wizards of the Coast stuff through Diamond and through, you know, Wizards of the Coast. They have stores that receive certain amounts of stuff. Seth used to get them, so I know this is true. And those retailers will be given a convention packet, a certain amount of product to sell, contracted, that if you buy X amount of Magic the Gathering, we will send you X amount of Wizards of the Coast D&D product. And if you sell specifically X amount of D&D product at upcoming community event / convention, you will receive X amount of free stuff and X amount of banners and posters and standees and stuff to put up to draw people to your booth. And we expect you to sell a certain amount, and then we will make a profit off of the certain amount you sell at convention, because you are now a Wizards of the Coast exclusive retailer. And in return, when the next run comes out, you will get more free swag and more incentive from us to carry more Wizards of the Coast product and go to the next convention to be a certified Wizards of the Coast retailer. So that's how Wizards of the Coast has been in the retailers at the conventions without being at conventions, because they have specific retailers who are authorized official Wizards of the Coast brand. So yeah, Wizards of the Coast has community outreach. Adventures League, the stuff at the libraries, the after school programs, the Magic the Gathering stuff. This is all community outreach. This is all Wizards of the Coast weekly representing themselves at some game store somewhere. Friday Night Magic and Adventurers League are all official Wizards of the Coast community outreach. And as for conventions, they were at San Diego Comic-Con, and Crawford has been at PAX, every PAX for the last 3 years. So, yeah. I'm not sure what you mean when you say Wizards of the Coast hasn't been going to cons. But I completely understand why Wizards of the Coast is now saying, oh yeah, we're going to start doing community outreach and we're going to start going to cons again. Because we feel that January happened because we didn't have our finger on the pulse of the gaming community, because we haven't been doing community outreach. But now we're going to. Now we're going to go out there amongst the people and kiss some hands and shake some babies and open a library and get the key to the city and give you some apple pie and show you at the conventions that, look, we're here now. We want to listen. And people will go, oh, wow, look, Wizards of the Coast is here, and they weren't here before. And the Magic the Gathering people and the Adventures League people will go, yeah, we were. We were here last week, dude. What are you talking about? But I get what you're trying to do, Wizards of the Coast. I get it. I see what you're trying to do. So, yeah. Am I wrong? Because from my perception, they've been doing community outreach. We got literally Magic the Gathering, Friday Night Magic at the game store down a couple blocks from my house. That is official sponsored Wizards of the Coast outreach. But am I wrong? I mean, please explain to me what you mean when you say they haven't been going to conventions. Anyways, that's all I have to say on this topic. It's 10 minutes longer than I wanted to. If you appreciate the nonsense that comes out of my mouth, let me know. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to the OGGM Adventures yet, please take a moment to subscribe. It helps me immensely. It doesn't cost you a thing. Trying to hit 1,500 subs. Well, at this rate, 1,300 would be nice, but 1,500 subs by the end of the month. Let's see if we can do it. And remember, this is my job, so consider supporting me, because this is exhausting doing this every day, guys. So, and the best way to support me, of course, is to head on over to Big Geek Emporium, link down below, and buy my amazing merch, which is not represented at conventions. Till next time, I'm the OGGM. Stay safe. See ya.